So this is the carburetor to the trapper. It's a Keihin. Yeah, sounds real American, don't it? And it failed. All the seals in it are pretty much gone. They're there, but they're hard, they're crispy, they crumble if you touch them. The O-rings had been failed when I had taken it apart before, but they kind of worked, but they leaked. And at one point when I was coming back from Tractor Supply, my dad was alongside me in the John Deere, and I'm riding along, probably doing probably 3,000 RPM, just cruising along. The next thing you know, blip, 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 and I just stall out. I'm ripping on it. I can't get the start. I unscrew the air box and air filter, and does it go this way? Yeah, it goes this way. Yeah, the fuel was up to here, like where my thumbnail's at. That's how bad it was overflowing. It took me forever to get it started. I had to have the fuel off and had to crank it over till the engine sucked all that fuel, spit it out, and got the ratio right to run again with the pedal on full. And I turned the fuel on, it happened again, and then I figured out how to drive the thing. I had to drive the thing home by having the fuel off, then about every 20 to 30 seconds it would start sputtering because it's about to stall out. And I'd turn the fuel on for about 1 second, then I'd turn it off, repeat. So I got some O-rings from work. They're the right size for the shaft, but they're too big around. So I sanded them down. I might have sanded one down a little too much, and one I didn't do enough. It was a real pain to get together. We're gonna try hooking this up. We're gonna hope and pray it don't leak, because I ordered a carb rebuild kit because this carburetor being Chinese, the rebuild kits are also Chinese and come from China. So I have to wait for China shipping. Only $6 a rebuild kit. But I'm not going to see it for months, and I have a trail ride this weekend, and I'm only going to have one tractor. I'm going to need two if yeah. By the way, I know it sounds like a float bowl problem, but it's not. The float bowl is working excellently. Ooh, I'm tired. So the gas tank's up there, carburetor's down here. I purposely tipped the carburetor over and stuff to make sure it would overflow and it's full. I'm just gonna let the carburetor sit like this for a good 5-10 minutes. Come back if we got a puddle under it. I won't be able to do the trail ride, but if it's still dry under here, it might just work. Another annoying factor I'll have to keep in mind is this thing has a crazy fuel pump right here. Crazy. The Briggs opposing twin fuel pumps, they work just the right amount. This thing is insane. I had to put my fuel shutoff used to be here, but look at this. Because I would turn the fuel shutoff off and try draining it out, it would actually collapse the fuel filter so bad it would bend the metal. And then I would stop because I worried it was going to rupture my fuel filter. This fuel pump is insane. I'm a little bug. Look at me, I'm a little bug. I got antennas, I feel everything. I'm gonna poke a little bug. I'm gonna poke you. I'm gonna poke you. I'm gonna poke you. Oh, it's a little grasshopper! It's a little grasshopper! Well, it's been a few minutes. Chickens are being chickens. And can you tell I changed cameras? I no longer have big scratches. Oh, yeah, I'd say that's what we want to see there. Yeah, I think I'm going to install this carb. While you're watching me install the carburetor, since I figured out that, beads are pretty hard to unset, and I figured out how nice it is to have low tire pressure, as it actually is better than high tire pressure with suspension as far as softness goes. And the Ford's been real rough to ride because there's no seat suspension, and I undid a spring I did not intend to undo. And yeah, and the guys at the auto place filled my tires up to 40 psi because they said you're supposed to do that to inflate it, or to set the bead, and you can decrease it later, and I never did. I ran at 40 psi for about a year, and well, now I think it's time to come down on the pressure. In fact, and I think I did. I did what I did with the mud train. I sat the tires up on I jacked the back end up, took the valve stems out of the tires, let it sit like that for a while, put the valve stems back in, sat it down, jacked the front up, took the valve stems out of the tires, let it sit like that for a bit, and let it sit back down. So there's only whatever pressure the tractor adds to the tires. And Yeah, that I didn't do that with Dinky. I did release Dinky's tire pressure, but if I go too much, there started actually being ripples in the sidewalls, and I didn't like that. I figured, considering the speeds Dinky goes through, that having ripples in the sidewalls would just be a whole bunch of friction on aging tires and all that heat. I figured it would cause a failure, and I have had enough failures on Dinky for a while. I'm not trying to go through any more money than I have to. I got some plans for Dinky, I just don't got the money for it. I want to get Dinky, instead of having 8-inch rims on the front and back, I want to get Dinky on 12s, front and the back. But the same kind of profile setup it's got going on now, where I got like 26-inch ags on the back, and then some this will definitely have to be in the wide Dinky setup, and some I don't know, like some 23s or something, nice and skinny. I just haven't been able to find those skinny front tires. It's actually so yeah, if you're doing this, I'm sure there's probably some fancy schmancy torque rating or something for it, but you know, I just snug it. That's all. It doesn't got to be crazy tight, doesn't need a perfect seal. It's just got to be good enough. It's got a gasket. It's got to just not back out and fall off. You know, don't need to strip the block out now. It's aluminum. Little's all you need. In fact, the only thing I will torque wrench, now that I have a torque wrench, is head gasket and connecting rod. Other than that, I don't give a damn about torque specifications. Common sense doesn't fail. I know I'm less energetic than normal. I'm just really sleep deprived, and I just got home from a 10-hour day of work, which is my normal hours I work in a day. There's a daddy long leg on my leg. Long leg in my leg, but my legs aren't long. Huh. Someone has shot something. Hope they got a groundhog. Hate groundhogs. I grew up in an area where you're supposed to be afraid when you hear gunshots. So far, so good. I mean, it still does that weird running rich thing, idle. Or running inconsistently, idle. But I didn't rebuild it, I just replaced 2 O-rings and sanded it down, but it worked. I don't know if you can see that, but the front end is popping up when I do that. There we go, that was a good wheelie for not using the clutch. This thing's got power. Well, Jake shows we'll be having a newbie to the trail rides. What's going on here? Well, JB Walt doesn't make the best cracked valve cover, damn plastic valve covers. I honestly really hate that Kohler motor, you know. It runs good, it sounds good, but everything's plastic on it, and the plastic has to break because it's plastic. Just as fun, let's see if Dinky will start. Cold, no. Throttle, no. Choke. It's in gear. Almost. The no throttle part's what makes that impressive.